My name is Donna. I'll be talking today, someone might say, I say it's learning out loud, we're all just learning together out loud. Our head pastor, Jeff is in California, and they're enjoying Thanksgiving with their family from there. For those of you who might not know, pretty much 3/4 of us are from Southern California. So the holidays, 3/4 of us are probably gone to Southern California. I do want to mention before we get started today about Operation Christmas Child. That is due, your shoeboxes are due by noon tomorrow. At New Hope, if you need more information, all this is still out in the lobby if you guys want to be a part of that. So many of you guys know me from church on Sunday, maybe just that loud person that you see here at Water Church. Some of you might not be as familiar with my background or what actually got me up on this stage today. So I thought I'd share a little bit of that with you. I spent the first 25 years of my adult life in a career in country music radio. I was on the air, I did morning shows, I also programmed the radio station, did all the behind the scenes stuff. Some people always ask me, what stations did you work at here in Bend? I did the morning show on 102.9 KSJJ and also on 99.7 The Mountain, which is now called The Bull. A few people that I've met, that was Taylor Swift, Garth Brooks. You probably heard of those two. So last year, Meg Miranda. But just a few of the people that I met, it was a great time. 25 years of being on tour buses, being backstage, getting to do a lot of cool stuff. I've even got to play basketball with the Harlem Globetrotters. You can't tell because they're so much taller than me, but I actually have 3-inch high heel tennis shoes on. I went totally Will Ferrell with the wristbands. I was trying to be cool. Got to play against them. It was a super fun time. I actually am the only woman on the planet who's ever been able to fireman carry Randy the Natural Couture over my head in a ring when he was the heavyweight champ. That was a pretty cool moment, let's just say. I was like, the only bad part about that was that I was so nervous because the deal was, he said, all right, you can carry me once around the ring, but you got to put me down. So I got in the middle of the ring and I was so excited because of the crowd and the noise that I started spinning him around, like I saw on TV as a little kid. So when I put Randy down, he kind of looked at me like, not in the script. Not in the script. But also the other thing we got to do when we were in radio was raise a lot of money for a lot of folks. In my career, we raised over $10 million for St. Jude. Over $50,000 locally for the 4-H kids to go here in Central Oregon to be able to get to fair. That was one of the years that we did that. And we built a ton of homes for Habitat for Humanity as well. And the reason that I tell you that is that it was a life of value. It was a life that mattered. And when God decided to make a shift in my life, it wasn't because I was necessarily doing something wrong. And I think that's important for somebody here to hear today, that God will shift you and He will move your life, but it's not because you weren't doing something right. It's just that He has some new place for you to be. That new place for me started about 4 years ago when my heart started to change. I really wanted to serve God more. But at the time I was running a radio station, getting up at 4:30 in the morning to be on the air, and I had one cleaning company at the time, so there was just no chance I was going to have time to really be doing what I wanted to do for God. So God decided that if my heart was there to want to do more for Him, then I was going to have to do less for somebody else. And doing less for someone else was 3 years ago, I was let go from the radio station that I was working at here in Bend. And for me, that was a huge shock because I was like, I am good at what I do. What do you mean you're letting me go? It made no logical sense to me because I was making them a lot of money and doing what I thought was a really great job. So that first month after I was let go from the radio station, I'm not going to lie, it was a dark time. I was praying a lot, wondering what's up here. My next step looked like unemployment and a real uncertain future. But what God did lead me to was Jeff Hutu let me make coffee for 1 year. 1 year of coffee making. And in between those last 3 years, all the work that I've been doing for God was really behind the scenes. I got to be the operations manager here. And really the stuff I did was stuff that nobody ever got to see. And I think that was part of my journey before God was going to put me back in front of crowds, which is what I was used to doing, and give me some quiet time for Him to sort of teach me and grow me in a lot of areas. And so my dream always was to teach, was to share, to be on a stage. One of the things we always talked about, Danny and I, is like, you were born to be on a stage. And I was like, that's because I'm a dancer. But No, I can't dance and I can't sing, and God knew that. That's why He's going to let me work for Him, because He knew if I could sing, I'd be having a career altogether different. So I'm thankful for being up here today. My whole life feels like it led to today. I'm just grateful that God would think enough to let me be a part of His plan. It's one of those things I feel grateful for, this opportunity to learn out loud and with you guys. Here's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm in radio, you're going to hear music.
Whoa, mercy, mercy me.
Have mercy on me. You treat me so bad. Misery. I made you so bad. Just by walking.
Come on, Ann.
I made you so bad. You know.
Mercy, that's what we're going to talk about today. I love music so much. You'll hear music every time you ever see me up here on stage, and luckily for you, I let other people sing and not me, because that would have been not nearly as much fun. In order for us to talk about mercy today, we sort of got to talk about grace a little bit too, because if you had a pendulum that swung, you're going to have grace and mercy on each end of that. It's the yin to the yang, the peanut butter to the jelly. People talk about grace and mercy together a lot. I mean, you'll hear them go, may grace and mercy follow you all of your days. People put them together in sentences. They're in the Bible together a lot as well. Mercy is different from grace. Mercy is when you really did something wrong and God isn't going to punish you for it. Grace is when God is blessing you and you didn't do anything to deserve it. How cool are both of those things, right? It's no wonder we put them together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, because they go great together, mercy and grace. But today I want to talk about mercy and how mercy really matters. Who here remembers being a kid when this album came out? It was a big deal, right? Super big deal. And so when that album came out, I was in junior high, and it's the first time I ever remember really praying for mercy. And that album came out, and like any kid in junior high, I wanted to have a lot more friends than I had, and I wanted to win them over, and everybody was talking about the album, and I said, I got that album. I didn't have that album. I didn't have that album. And so what does the cool kid in school say to me when I tell them I've got the album? They say, can I borrow it? Yeah, when I'm ready, you can borrow it, for sure. So I remember praying, and just that clumsy kid prayer, because you don't really think you have a lot to offer, when you're a kid. God, if you give me that Michael Jackson album, please help me so I don't look like the lying McLiar that I am. And I remember even saying, I'll be nice to my brothers, I'll clean my room. You didn't know what to bargain for, you just knew that you really, really wanted God to be able to give you that. And I did get that album, and I did get a chance to be able to share that at school. And I just remember thinking, as corny as that little kid's prayer was, I bet God liked it. I bet He liked that I was a kid who'd really messed up. I knew that line was wrong, and yet He saved me. And when I look back on junior high, my junior high picture is so horrible, I didn't want to share it today, but I did go out of my way this week to secretly find a junior high picture of about 5 of your fellow folks here in the audience. So if you hit the next one for me here. In the left, in the pink, you're going to see Barb Stofan. If you'll stand up, Barb, so everybody knows it's you. Come on now. Barb. In the middle, with the cute, short, dark hair. Melissa. To the right, we have Leilani. Where's Leilani this morning? There's Leilani. In her screen. You can tell a little bit of an error difference, too, And of course, Dustin Mitch says Dustin. Does anybody think that looks exactly like him still?
The hair
does.
is the same.
Totally.
The hair is the same, yeah.
Yeah. And then over on the bottom of the screen, there's a couple that's still a couple today. If you could pick them out of that crowd, anybody want to take a guess? That guy right there and that girl? It is the Patrons, Jessica and Mike Patron back in the corner. They're already standing, and they look exactly the same. So thank you guys for knowing and unknowingly. Some of you didn't know I was going to share your junior high picture, but I wanted to share that today. Raise your hand here if you have ever been pulled over by the police. Keep your hand up if you knew you were breaking the law when you got pulled over by the police. Man, I love this honesty because this is really good. Because, you know, the one place you don't want to lie is church and about Jesus. You don't want to lie about him either. But another opportunity, you know, for people like Chris Moore, who goes to our church as a detective now, been in law enforcement, of course we got Mark too, is he had an opportunity to give mercy. And I asked Chris, how many times do you think in your career you've given somebody a warning? You've given them a fix-it ticket instead of the full penalty they could have gotten. And he said thousands of times. Why? Why? Why would you do that? He said, sometimes it would just be that you knew they didn't mean to. You just wanted to extend mercy. And I thought it was cool that someone even in a law enforcement career has an opportunity to show mercy in our everyday lives. Because I think that we all do have an opportunity to do that. I don't know that we recognize it as often as we should or could or would, but I think that it's important. Let's talk about what the Bible says about being merciful. This is the story in the Bible in Matthew about the unmerciful servant, if any of you guys have heard this one. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who wanted to settle accounts with his servants. And as he began the settlement, a man who owed him 10,000 talents was brought to him. And since he was not able to pay, the master ordered that he and his wife and his children and all they had be sold to repay the debt. The servant fell on his knees before him and said, "Be patient with me," he begged, "and I will pay back everything." The servant's master looked and took pity on him and canceled the debt and let him go. Next one. But when the servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him only 100 denarii. And he grabbed him, I added only, you guys saw that, but he grabbed him and began to choke him, saying, "Pay me back what you owe." His fellow servant fell on his knees and begged the same way, "Be patient with me and I'll pay back your money." But he refused, and instead he went off and had the man thrown into prison until he could pay the debt. And when the other servants saw what happened, they were greatly distressed and went and told the master everything that had happened. Then the master called the servant in. "You wicked servant, I canceled all the debt of yours because you begged me to. Shouldn't you have mercy on your fellow servant just as I had on you?" In anger, his master turned him over to the jailers to be tortured until he should pay back all he owed. And this is how my heavenly Father will treat each of you unless you forgive your brothers from the heart. Pretty much tells you like it is, huh? Sometimes I think we do like when it's a little softer, maybe a little more flowery. But mercy matters. And that's what we're here to talk about today. I think that mercy can be a funny thing too, because I know for me in my life, I have no problem getting mercy when I'm the one that was wrong. Like, hey, I'm really sorry. I was really over to mercy on that deal. When I'm right and someone else has done something to wrong me, harder time for me to want to extend that mercy. And I'll tell you, I've really been praying a lot about mercy in my life over this last year, and I wouldn't recommend it to any of you. Don't pray to understand and be better about mercy. Because it ends up that you're in just a lot of more bad situations where you have to learn to be merciful. And I will tell you that I didn't always just come right to mercy. Sometimes I went home and I explained my situation with a lot of four-letter words to Danny about how I needed to learn mercy. Luckily, he isn't too easily offended. But mercy is a thing that I think is tricky because in God's economy, God's not asking the same questions we ask. I think we ask things like, well, I was right and they were wrong. They should have to pay for what they did. I mean, how many times have people said this? If you pay, you play, you pay. Chris Moore would say, if you do the crime, you do the time. Right, John? That's what happens. That's what you do. But we think that way, and I think that in God's economy, He's asking a different question than we're asking. It's not a matter of right or wrong. I believe that what God's saying to us is, did you show mercy and grace? Did you show me through how you acted in those situations? Were you merciful when you could have been? You know, I think about my absolute rock bottom on mercy. When I knew I really, 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 really needed God's help on mercy was a work situation. And for those of you who know me, I have no problem with mercy with my friends and family because I love them. They're easy to have mercy for. But in work situations, there was a situation where this lady was so rude. She was so rude. She had let us sit and wait because she wanted to finish eating her dinner before she'd come by. It was just a rough situation. And so we're driving in the car, and I decided that I am going to let her know how I feel about how rude she was. And I did what everybody might do. voice to text, right? So voice to text, I hit it, and I'm telling her everything I think about this situation, what I thought she should have done, and guess what God does? Deletes it. It's gone. And so in the car with me is Stacy here from church, and one of my other cleaners, Kelly, in the back seat, and they're kind of talking to me, but I'm not really hearing them because God deleted the voice to text. I wasn't thinking it was God at the time, but so I said, well, what would any logical person do? They're going to hit voice to text a second time. And that's what I did. Same exact thing, right? Guess what happens? Delete it. It's gone. So now, you would think at number 2 I'd be done, right? You're so wrong. We're not even close to done. I hit number 3. Voice to text a third time. And the whole time I'm doing this, I hear Stacy and Kelly going, you know, this might be a sign. This might be, hey, Donna, you might want to think about, no, you know, not doing it. So the third one, of course, does not go through. So logic says now you're done and you're going to just be mad and not send it. No, that's not what happened. I said my fingers will do the texting and I'm going to tell her how I feel. And I did. And I just, blah, blah, blah. When it was all said and done, it was the wrong thing to do. I wasn't glad that I'd done it. That was such a fleeting moment of feeling frustrated. And I hadn't given that pause. You know, life is so good when you give pause, just one little pause. If life had a pause button, you know, wouldn't we all do better, and especially when it comes to text. But when that happened, I knew that was rock bottom for me. I have to do something. I can't act this way. This poor woman, you know, she gave it right back to me too, so we had a few exchanges, and I think I got a negative Google Plus review now. I don't know if you guys, I decided I didn't want to look at it, so I didn't go. But that was the bottom for me. He wants us to be merciful and gracious beyond the way someone is treating us. There's a lot of really good reasons in the Bible, though, little quick reasons why we're supposed to be merciful. This one is the most obvious one. Matthew 5:7 says, God blesses those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. This is one of the few things in the Bible God really tells you, you get what you give. You want mercy, you're going to have to give mercy. It's just that simple. It tells us that word for word. One of the cool things about this verse was that when I looked it up, that the word blessed is the same as happy, which I thought was really exciting because if you look at it, God makes happy those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Who here doesn't want to be happy? I mean, really, we want to be happy. And I think it's cool because blessed means happy. And some people have said to me, no, I don't like using the word blessed. Like, I don't want to say to someone, how are you? I'm blessed with having the best. Some people feel uncomfortable saying that. It's okay to be able to say, though, I'm happy with what God's doing in my life. It's just another way to say the same exact thing. So if you want mercy, you got to give mercy in order to get it. But there's an even bigger reason that we want to give mercy, and that is that mercy ultimately leads us to repentance. What he really wants us to do is he gives us all this great mercy so that we will say we're sorry. Repentance, same as saying, going to him and saying, man, I'm sorry for the way I've been living. I'm sorry for what I've been doing, and I'm not going to do it anymore. Part of that is also willing to change that behavior. So ultimately, the mercy that we're shown is because he wants to lead us to repentance. And from repentance, that's going to get us to obedience. Once you get to obedience, you're going to find that you're really starting to get into the life that you really want in Christ. You know, it's not even about him showing us how big and cool he is, because he could be big and cool and do a lot of big and cool things for us, and I think he does. But that's not why he gives us mercy. I think that the mercy that he shows us, he also wants us to show others. And it sounds like such a simple concept, but it's a game changer. You know, Jeff Lutu talked a lot over the last 5 weeks about how to find your way back to God. When I think of mercy, I think here's one of the ways that you can find your way to stay with God. There's simple things that he tells us to do that will keep us close to him, to keep us in that abundant life. And it starts with that mercy. It's such a great first, step in how we live each day. So as we live with mercy, and that leads to our repentance, to the obedience, and then we get to what I love, the abundance. Who doesn't want to have an abundant life? Who doesn't want to be happy? Who doesn't want to be like, oh man, God's just blessing me, and I've got favor, I've got purpose. All those things up there are important because I think they're things that we're all really, really wanting at the end of the day. We all want a life that matters. We want to do things that matter. So how does that look? Mercy can just have a ton of neat faces. Mercy can be as simple as if you're retired, you're going out, and you're going to spend your time giving it to someone else, give mercy to someone else, then mercy is going to follow you home. You get what you give in the area of mercy. I think about moms. I think about giving yourself mercy. How many moms out there have just dragging themselves through the day thinking, I have to do this, and I have to get the laundry done, the house has to be clean, and I have to make dinner. My kids couldn't possibly just eat a sandwich. Your kids can eat a sandwich. Your mercy is something that not only do we sometimes have struggles with showing it to other people, but sometimes for some people, and I think some people even here today, mercy can be one of those things that's hard to show yourself. God wants you to be merciful. He doesn't want you running around 100 hours a day being worn out. You know, I think about all the times that if we would just give ourselves a little bit of mercy, we could really change our whole day, you know, from, I always like the analogy of I remember being a young mom and being so tired that you wouldn't take a nap. If you would have stopped as a young mom, or even a mom, doesn't matter how young you are, or even a dad, and just take that nap, the rest of your day would have been better. But what happens when you don't take the nap? Now you're grumpy. Now you're tired. And guess what? You're going to end up taking it out on somebody before dinner. Somebody's going down, someone's getting grounded, you know, you might be on the verge of divorce, who knows, all those things are going to happen, and guess what? They're still eating a sandwich, but now they're eating it because you're mad. So mercy is one of those things that we need to extend not only to others, but to ourselves. Elizabeth is such a great example for me, and I don't see Elizabeth in here. Where is she? No? Is she in with kids? I love Elizabeth because Elizabeth has such a heart for homeless people, to the point where she sees them and it breaks her heart for what they're going through and where they are. And I think that that's just one easy example of how we can be merciful to another person. Even if you're not taking that homeless guy home to make him dinner or, you know, let him move in the spare bedroom, I think it's as simple as looking him in the eye when you drive by, saying hello. Hey, how's it going? How's your day? You know, it could be just that simple. Just to acknowledge somebody with a look in their eye that they matter, that they're significant, is a game changer. It could just be little things, but I want to encourage us all to start with whatever little thing that is, because mercy will grow inside, because the more you give, the more will come back to you as well. I think that as we look at our take-home today and what we want to take from this talk on mercy, I think we have to go back and say, why do we do the things we do? I think so often we do things based on what our parents told us. Maybe it was modeled to us badly. Maybe, you know, society tells you this is what you're supposed to do, not just as a person, but as a business owner. I think of all the things that I've done in business just because somebody else was doing that in business, and it seemed like that's what you do. But I want to invite us and encourage us to get into God's economy of how we give. In God's economy, God's not saying, let's look at who's right or wrong, or whose $10 that really was. What God's economy is telling us is that He's going to bless us. He's going to reward us for doing all the things that He's asking us to do in His Word. He makes it simple. He's telling us to show people mercy. It's a pretty easy command. He also tells us to love people. Pretty easy command. A little harder to do, but it's easy to say. But He wants us to do that, you know, and I think the easiest way for us to start, if I was encouraging you to do something this week, would be to take a moment and think about, what has God done to show you mercy? In what way has God been merciful to you in your life? Take whatever that is and give it to someone else. Take what it is you know in your heart, that mercy, you know how it feels, and give it to someone else. I think of Barb Stoffen. Barb's daughter was a meth addict. Barb takes her experience and the mercy that God showed her through that experience, through those years, and she gives that to other people. She helps them through their difficult time, through their children's crisis, or their brothers, or their mother's crisis with drug addiction. If you were ever hungry like Nate Skelly was when he was homeless, Nate knows what it feels like to live without a home, to have nothing, to be hungry. And so Nate gives that back to other people every chance he can get. And that's what I want you guys to be encouraged to do. Because sometimes in life people say, I don't even know where to start. What do I do? Look inside yourself. Find what it is that you have been given mercy for, and take that and give it to someone else. I think about how cool life is going to look for us, how different our church can look, how different our town can look, if we could all just work in a different economy. work in the economy of God is going to take care of you. God's got your back. You do what he asks you to do, and he'll take care of the rest of you. Show mercy, knowing that mercy is going to come back to you, is a pretty powerful and exciting opportunity that we all have. I mean, you think how many people we each talk to or touch in our work and our lives every single day? If we all just made an opportunity to try to be merciful to someone, I think it'd be a game changer for all of us. Jeff Uche talks about one of the moments that he decided to stay in Bend, Oregon after he moved up here from Southern California. It was a simple moment. He was at Costco and somebody offered to get his card. How simple is that? So simple. But it was a game changer in his day. We don't know what other people are going through, but we do know that what we can do is be more merciful in all of our situations. I think about that elderly guy. I swear he's always in front of me in the grocery store, and he's got one stop to make for the whole day, and it's going to be the grocery store, and it's right in front of me, and he's going to talk for about 48 minutes. And sometimes he'll say to other people, you guys go ahead, because he knows he wants to stay there and talk, and I'm the one that's right behind him. And so there's opportunity for me in that too, you know. I definitely am not standing up here saying, man, I got mercy nailed down, easy peasy. No, but I'm saying that I think that if we all want it, and we pray about it, and we make it a conscious effort, that we're going to find opportunities to be merciful. And that mercy will lead to an abundant life for each of us. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the opportunity that you give us to have mercy. Thank you for all the times that you've shown us mercy. Lord, I just pray today that as everybody heads out in their day, Lord, that you will show them an opportunity to be merciful. Lord, and open the gates to repentance and obedience and just an abundant life. We thank you, Lord, that you love us so much, that you'll show us mercy to give us a chance to be more like you. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.